We're going to be watching Sindoku, who's playing Orisa, Diva, Roadhog on Dorado. Um, and this is Silver 1. I assume it's on PC. Um, yeah, so this is what they said. I had a match earlier that I actually won. It was really my only close game today, so I'm going to try and get this code. There's some things I'm not so sure about that I like advice with. I'm looking for tips in the Orisa versus Ryan and Orisa versus Orisa matchups, as that's what my opponent played here. I have videos on both of those actually, and I'm open to any other tips you'd like to give as well, as you are the master, not me. Smiley face. This post is really targeted at Adder, who I recently discovered on YouTube, but anyone can review if they want. I was watching one of Adder's videos after I posted the original post. I noticed him say that he prefers to post losses instead of wins. That's correct. I only played 2 games of ranked yesterday, and the loss I received was basically a steamroll, which is why I was hesitant to share it. I thought the game may have not been good enough quality for a decent review, but if you insist, I'll share the steamroll. I'm just trying to rank up and get better. I put both games below, so you can choose whichever you want. So I would start by saying that I think you can still learn from steamrolls. I think understanding why you get steamrolled is very important. I think that if you are truly outplaying your rank, right, if you should be climbing, then you are going to turn steamroll losses to close losses. You're going to turn close losses to close wins, and you can take close wins and turn them into steamroll wins, right? You can't control everything. Like, if you're getting absolutely wrecked, you're probably not going to be able to turn that into a win, or like a huge win at least. It's probably going to be like scrape by the skin of your teeth type situation to get a win, if at all. But you should make it competitive, and I think that is important to give yourself a chance, because even if you win, if you steamroll that you otherwise had a 0% chance of winning or 1% chance of winning, if you can turn that into a 30% chance of winning, that's huge, right? Because not every single game is a steamroll, so even a 30% conversion on them is really, really good. So I think that's very important to highlight. It is possible that it really couldn't have done anything differently. Like, that will happen very rarely. Like, if there's Smurfs on the other team, or someone on your team like actively throwing, or AFK leaves the game, something like that. But I think most steamrolls are really controllable, right? In my experience, both having watched replays and playing them, most steamrolls are pretty controllable in terms of like being able to turn it around. And often it doesn't take a lot to turn a steamroll around, surprisingly little. So I boot up the steamroll first. If this is super bad, we can go to the win and take a look at that. So start of the round, you're already playing the wrong spot. There's no reason to be playing here. Default location for defense is to play up here. There is a strategy to play here that involves often Winston or Diva, who play close, dive heroes, who will play up here. Doomfist also can sit up here. There's also a possibility of playing here. I think this is also acceptable. It's quite a bit dependent upon your comp and where your team wants to be located. But I think the default, if you're like, hey, I don't really know what else to do, is stay here, right? I could try to explain all the other permutations, but it'd be very complicated and there's a lot of variables. But by default, I would say stay up here and then put pressure on the cart, right? The reason why you stay up here is it's really hard for them to shoot back at high ground. Okay, you have a good advantage at poking them down, and then you can farm ulti, maybe get a kill. If you get a kill, then you can stop the cart. If you don't get a kill, right, once the cart gets up to like roughly here, you can be like, oh, okay, cool. Now just rotate, and then you play here. So you lose nothing by playing up top over here, with the very sole exception that if somebody gets killed by like a Whittle or something like that. But that's going to happen anyway to some extent, even if you play over here, is that it's always a possibility. So you're already starting in the wrong spot. You see the Reaper teleporting on the right side of your screen. You don't react to this at all, for quite a while at least. I think it's good javelin. Honestly, just forcing him to wraith away, totally fine. If that's what happens, it's great. He'll take it. Like, you don't have to get a kill or anything. Like, you really shouldn't in that situation. There's a lot the Reaper can do. This is a great example of why playing high ground would be so much better. It's really hard for you to spam right now because you only have one tiny corner. Like, basically, you have to be right here or here. Okay, there's like a very small area, and all they have to do is just continually fire over there. Versus if you were up top, over here, you have this entire area to shoot and strafe back and forth, and it's much more difficult for them to hit you. Especially for Junkrat, who has to land it direct on you and at the right angle to get it up here to hit you. Versus over here, even when he doesn't hit you directly, the splash from the roll can damage you and force you off the angle. So right now you've done, I don't know, 20 damage. By this point in time, if you were up here, you could have done at least 100 just by spamming the cart. And that stuff matters, right? It will add up over the course of the game. You get ult a little faster, it can help you in a fight, things like that. Little things make a difference. So, reason number 2 why you should play high ground instead of low ground Notice up here, your soldier gets stove. There's nothing you can really do here to help. Okay, and your soldier dies. And once your soldier dies, you probably lost the point because now it's 4 and 5. Imagine if you're up here instead, right, playing normal. You see the diva over here, like you're spamming. Also, diva would be lower in health because you'd be spamming the diva, right? I see the diva go. Immediately, I spin and I run over here and I contest and mirror the diva. Okay, because you have that visibility up here that you don't down there, and you have that flexibility. You can always drop high ground to low ground. You can never go low ground to high ground. Unless you're, dive hero mobility. As Orisa in particular, you really need to know where you need to be because you can't reactively move there after the fact. Like, as soon as a soldier died, I'm like, damn, I screwed up. And like, yeah, did the soldier screw up by dying here? He did. But I could have saved him. And recognizing what was or was not within your power is very important to climbing. Again, if you've been playing default up here, right? Spamming. The diva might not even have dived if I got her low, right? If she's at 400 health, maybe she doesn't dive. When she dives up here, I can just spin over here right away, body block for the soldier, right? And then I completely shut down the diva. So that mistake alone is already going to screw you over. So nothing here really matters. I mean, you definitely have some aim issues. But like the fight's already over, so the Reaper gets in. Like, this is the horses have already left the barn situation. Okay, so the soldier dies here, and then you start rotating to the right, which is like understandable. But now there's nothing to do here, right? The diva's already in position, has plenty of health, now has cover, and you can't go up the stairs to commit on her because the cart's already moving and people are coming up from main. At this point, you need to give it up and just play default. Like the new default is right here, stopping the cart like at this door. And playing that position. And because you're not looking to the left, the Reaper simply drops out of window and now gets up to your Ash at point blank. This that you're doing over here, shooting this diva, is not giving you any value. Okay, it's like too late now for you to do anything in this regard. You see, the diva's not in danger, right? The diva's not going to die, she's not going to lose her mech. Nothing's happening over here. That Reaper walking to your team, again, if you're standing here, this never happens. And you stop the Reaper from putting this pressure on your Ash, which leads to a kill. Okay, so now you've let both of your DPS die. Both times because you were out of position. Reaper Wraiths, and then again, I'm not even going to bother talking, like, you're definitely making mistakes here, but it's not worth, like, microanalyzing because the fight's over. There's nothing, even if I was in your position right now, even though this is a silver level game, I could not turn this game around. Like, it's now 5 on 3, they're all clustered up, there's nothing you can do. So I'm just going to skip forward to the next life. Wow, you switch off Orisa really quickly. Okay, so you decide you don't want to play Orisa here, you want to play Diva. It's actually a good call. I think second point on Dorado is a very vertical map. Like, high ground here is really, really important. And if you cannot clear high ground on offense, you probably can't cap. So I think Diva actually is a good hero here because you can fight here, go back down, go back up, etc. So I think it is a good switch. I think Orisa is better for first point, but Diva is better for second. But yeah, just noting. I don't know if you've thought of that or not. So this is a good example where you're not familiar with how much damage heroes can do. So you see the Reaper looking at you, and you kind of instinctively DM because you're like, oh, the Reaper's looking at me. He could shoot at me. I should Matrix this. This is a bad Matrix. And the reason being is that Reaper has massive damage fall off. And again, I would encourage you seem like the kind of person who like really wants to absorb all the information. I would strongly encourage you to read the wiki for like all of the heroes and look at their damage and look at their damage per second and look at the fall offs and help kind of like put that together in your head. And even if you might even want to go to the point where you want to create like maybe like a spreadsheet or something and like chart there, they exist out there, but just like taking notes in class, like sometimes writing it down yourself can help you remember things better. And maybe write down like the damage that heroes do at like certain distances, like for fall off, might help you to think about like danger level if you want to accelerate your learning, right? Obviously you'll learn this anyway just by playing the game, but if you want to accelerate that, you could just start like taking notes like that. But anyway, look at this scenario. This Reaper, even if he's dead on aim, which is not particularly hard, or Diva shooting you, he's gonna do 30 damage a second, maybe, like trivial damage, like absolutely trivial damage. You do not need a Matrix at all. Like, you don't even have to worry about, like, I literally, if I was like trolling, I would just stand here and just look at him and do nothing and take my hands off my mouse and keyboard because it's not gonna, his damage is completely meaningless right now. So the fact that you Matrix here, in the grand scheme of things, this Matrix is not a big deal, but it demonstrates a lack of experience with the game. And that's why I'm telling you this, is that you do not need to Matrix this because the Reaper shows no threat to you at this distance. Even though he's looking at you, zero threat. You do not need to Matrix this. So then you fly to the Reaper. You push him up high ground, but honestly, this is not great value. This is the reason. Number one, Reaper does more damage as it gets close. You'll notice that as you start flying up to him, ironically, this is when you should have held Matrix. And you see you go to 540, 506, 480, 420. Right? So within a couple seconds, he just took off 200 damage, 200 of your health. You don't need to get the Reaper off high ground here because he's not a threat to anybody else. Just like he couldn't damage you from this distance, he can't damage anyone else. If he wants to stand up here as a short range like shotgunner, who cares? Let him stand up there. It doesn't do anything. You don't need to worry about this at all. Like it's not your job to deal with it because he's not danger. If it was Widow, if it was Soldier, right? If it was Soldier, not that Soldier has a way to get up here. Like yeah, sure, go deal with that. But Reaper, not a problem. Don't even worry about it. So instead, what should you have done? So up here, the first thing I would have thought is, okay, my soldier is being chased by a D.Va. Okay, my soldier's half health. Like, if she has boost, she could potentially kill him. I walk over here and I get ready to help to see if the D.Va is going to chase after my soldier. She ends up not doing so, but I need to be more ready for that than whatever this is, where you just fed 200 health away. Number two, I want to be playing default, okay, which is like roughly in this area. It's a little complicated here or up top, and getting ready to contest and look for opportunities. This Junkrat is super overextended. Okay, you could kill this Junkrat within 2 seconds. So if you were right here, I could see the Junkrat like start shooting him, pop missiles, right? Fly into him, and maybe he gets around the corner, maybe he doesn't. Either way, like I can just go back and turn around and go back to default again. So that's an opportunity to kill this Junkrat right now that you miss because you were shooting the Reaper and then you come back down. You don't want to be in this position, right? The whole team can see you. Yeah, play around the corner, great. Eating orb is good. I think that's a reasonably high value typically. See at least medium value. So you don't want to land back over there. Yeah, so your movement here is not great. So D.Va comes in. I think you come over to try to stop the D.Va from getting kills, which I think is fair. You don't need to boost here, okay? Your matrix is more than high enough. You could just simply DM and just walk to the left to make sure the D.Va doesn't kill anybody, and that would have been fine. But use boost here and use missiles, and you miss basically all of your missiles. Right? So notice like the missiles off in the distance. Like these are your first 2 missiles, these are your next 2, these are your third 2, here's your next 2. So you've missed 8 of your missiles so far. And it's not good, right? You just didn't need to pop missiles there. I wouldn't bother using missiles at all against D.Va in the situation until I see that she's used Matrix. And then you end up in an awkward spot. Right in the middle. Like you do the circle and then you land out here. Right, where there's no cover, and they're like, oh wait, now I'm gonna go back to cover, but you boop your Reaper in towards your team while doing so, which is not good, because again, close range hero. Okay. So your aim is obviously not particularly good. That's always gonna hold you back. So this is a very easy shot for all heroes, I would say, even for projectile heroes, but especially for hit scans, is easy. The Junkrat is moving in a very predictable path through the air. He's not dodging left and right, which is much, much harder to hit. So in this situation, you should be tracking. I would say that high diamond accuracy in this scenario is about 90%. Okay? High diamond is 90%. I would say that platinum is probably 80%, right? Gold is probably 75%. So let's see what you get. So it takes a while to connect. Miss. That's 5. That's, about 10 shots. I think you hit 3, so about 30%. And I think that's generous since, they're also shotgun blasts, so like the centering matters as well versus like just getting a hit marker. I think that accuracy already tells me that you have significant aim trouble, which especially on D.Va, which is quite a precise aim hero, believe it or not, I think it's going to be a real problem for climbing. Yeah, no reason to take this fight. So D.Va's here Reaper's here in your face. This is not a trade that you win. Also, it's not a trade that matters. It's not like you have people behind you who are all shooting the Reaper, and so the seconds that you stall here matter. Your team's already pushed way back because of the D.Va. You're just fighting a 4-on-1 right now by yourself. You should just leave. Right? Just Matrix and then fly up, take high ground, or fly, up and around, or anything that gets you back to your team, or high ground, anything that gets you away from the Reaper. So again, you pop missiles. So missiles are not a good long-range tool, believe it or not. Typically with D.Va, I'm wondering if I even have any D.Va gameplay, but typically for D.Va, you're gonna boost sword towards somebody at close range and then activate missiles right when you're about to hit them, and then have the missiles all land at point blank, and that's the way you maximize the missile damage. Okay, firing missiles like this at range to just spam is not a good idea. There's caveats here in terms of like optimal farming. You can use it to farm ulti. If you know for sure you're not going to use it in the next like 7 seconds, 8 seconds, but you don't have that awareness right now. So I would not ever use missiles like that to farm. Okay, D.Va pops bomb here, which is fine. Like, it is what it is. You just need to stop this. So when bomb gets popped, you should immediately get to safety. So what's safety here? So this would keep you safe from the bomb, but it's not safe because everybody in front of you would kill you. You could fly over here, which would be safe from the bomb, but also it's not particularly safe from the enemy, and it's going to result in you getting cut off from your team. You could fly high ground, which is okay. As a Reaper up here, we didn't necessarily know that. I would also say that there's a possibility, depending on the bomb angle, that you can still get popped. Based on how low it is, it's probably not likely, but something to think about. So you can go high ground. What I would do here instinctively is go and vault. Here, completely safe, right? There's no way that I'm going to get DMAC'd here. If I take a lot of damage, I could still fly to the Mega. I'm definitely not going to get hit by the bomb. So that's what I would recommend here, is just going into vault instinctively. I had to blow my nose. Okay. So, do you rack to this bomb? You do not. You try to Matrix. You fly this way. 2 of your team members die. So now you have to face the whole team. Again, this is why I would not want to walk this way. You're taking a lot of damage. You really have to not lose mech. Despite the fact that you see the Junkrat put the trap down in front of you. Right, you see that trap go out right now. You still see the trap on the ground. So even if you thought that Matrix absorbs trap, which it doesn't, you could see that it's still on the ground right now. Total tunnel vision. Then you boost in, which for the record, even without the trap, is a bad idea because you have 200 health fighting against 4 heroes right here. This is still a bad idea. This is not a fight you can win. And you get trapped. And do you have Matrix? You have Matrix when you get trapped. You should instinctively hold Matrix right now. If you don't hold Matrix, you get DMAC'd. And you die. It's good that you didn't pop bomb at least. That at least was good. So you have to contest right now. Very, very important. You're not going to have time at this point, but right here, you had to be boosting forwards. The moment it came up, if you boosted forwards, you'd be able to get on this point. You have to fight this point. Because if you don't, you'll only have gotten 1 team fight for all of the second point, which is not acceptable. You cannot have that happen. You must get 2 fights on every point, at least. Preferably 3, like assuming they're all losses, right? Obviously, if they're wins, you get to keep fighting. But you must have at least 2 lost fights per point in payload. You just do whatever you possibly can to force 2. All right? It just doesn't give your team enough chances to like fight back in the game if you don't. So they've capped right now. They pop all their ultis. You said bomb, but this is a bad bomb because Junk Tires. You heard Junk Tire go. You can see Junk Tire. You can hear Junk Tire go. I'm assuming he's gonna get at least 1 kill. I'm probably not gonna be able to win this fight anyway. You know what I mean? Bombing right now is not a good call. I just want to get out. Just literally, you got boost. You got full health. You got 2 supports. Just boost up and out and regroup with your team. Try to throw a bomb right here. This is a bad bomb. So bomb is good in open spaces where people cannot dodge. Not here where there's a million different corners that people, like even if somebody is right here, all they do is walk around this corner and they're safe. You know? Like a bomb takes a really long time to explode. So it's very hard to get kills with it. And my general advice for D.Va players is always use bomb as a second life. That's the best tip I ever got when I was playing D.Va, is use bomb as a second life. Don't use bomb to try to get kills. Okay? Use bomb as a second life. Do play how you normally would, maybe a little more aggressively. And then when you're gonna lose mech, or when you do lose mech, then pop bomb. And then get mech again, and then they have to fight a tank twice, effectively. That is more value than trying to get kills with bomb, typically. There are exceptions, but especially for low rank players, this is my recommendation. Because people get too obsessed with trying to get kills with it, and it's bad practice, especially at higher ranks, where getting kills with bomb is like impossible, right? Everybody knows the D.Va like knows about Diva Bomb. They know when Diva will be able to have Bomb, and they always think about cover all the time. They'll naturally play against cover. So in the highest levels, you will almost never see more than you'll see typically 0 to 1 kills per Bomb. Yeah, it's a big deal. So you threw Bomb and you died after you threw Bomb. So right now your value overall as tank is very, very low. Yeah. So you're playing Ramattra now, you see the Reaper teleport, not your job to deal with it. You just can't. You just don't have the tools to deal with that. Spam here. Soldier kills your... sorry, Reaper kills your soldier. So you're going to pop Nemesis here, which is... So it's not going to go well. I can already tell it's not going to go well. It is the right position to do it. Like, you're on the backline right now. You just saw the Moira fade. It's the right position to do it. It's not the right timing. And the reason being is I think you actually need to control more of this fight and stabilize it before you go in. So if you go in right now, the supports, they're both going to basically ignore you while their tank and their DPS are walking over your team, right? The Junkrat has control above you. The Reaper has control of your flank and killed your soldier. I think you need to chill here and like poke out the Junkrat, go back and take high ground from the Reaper. Anything else that like makes some space, because otherwise your team is going to get wrecked by this Junkrat. But Nemesis, you do Nemesis anyway, not much you can do about it. You see the fade. So I would be looking for where she faded to, because again, you killed her in 4 hits. Okay? If you track her right here, 4 hits and she's dead. Except she pops Coalescence. This is another reason why it's really important to force fights, right? It forces out enemy ultis, and because they didn't have to use any ultis to capture a second point, they had all of their ultis after that. Yeah, and it's not much. I also don't know about going Ramattra here. That did not feel like there's also a significant amount of high ground to third point. I think playing Diva would have been better. Alright, so as expected, you get totally steamrolled. Again, controllable reasons, right? Like you're just continuing to let people die, and you're not generating any space. That's unlucky. No, don't do this. You don't want to feed Zarya bubble charge. Alright, so they're playing close on the cart, which is a strategy. It's not a particularly good strategy typically, but in this situation where they're completely rolling your team, that's something to think about. So, interesting thing. So normally I would say don't shoot Zarya bubbles, right? In this situation, you actually did a good job spinning her around the corner, so she's really overextended. You actually should kill her right now. So even when she pops bubble, I would just keep shooting this. Like, you stop for a second, just keep shooting. Also make sure to aim at head level, right? Javelin her, this is good javelin, right? And then you start backing off here. You see how you pause for a moment, and then you start walking away? This is the wrong call, okay? Number 1, she's extremely low. Number 2, she's overextended, right? There's no reason to play back here. Like you're almost full health. Your fortified is popped. You're in front of a spawn. So even if you make the wrong call here, you're gonna be back in 10 seconds. I think you definitely want to get a kill here to prevent her from walking away of energy. I think this will be disastrous if you let her walk away of energy. She gets all the way to 15 health. You should have recognized that and killed her. You don't. So now she maintains high energy and regroups her team. Really, really bad. They also get all the ult charge from her. Spin doesn't do anything against beam, by the way. You're clearly very shy about attacking the Zarya. You're like, oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to be attacking right now or not. You should be attacking right now because you saw her use both bubbles, which means she's got a little bit before bubbles are going to come back up. So you're not ability tracking right now for the opposing tank, which is really, really important. Now the Zarya's in. I know she only has one bubble though, right? Because she used 2 bubbles before. It's been about 7 seconds. This is her one and only bubble charge, which is correct. All right? So if this bubble goes down, she has no more bubbles. So in this situation, I would probably go this way, right? Use the card as cover, shoot down the bubble, and then spin her to the spot that she was before. Right? Again, you pop spin here. Despite the fact that you see how low the Kiriko is when you spin in, right? You see the Kiriko's currently at half health. Now she's at 1/3 health. Like, you could just shoot the Kiriko right now. You decide to shoot the tank instead of the Kiriko. You somehow magically hit the Kiriko with a javelin through the rest of the team. Then you're out here, you're overextended, and then you die. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I think you're fairly new to the game, would be my guess. You don't really know you don't really know your timings, and you don't know the enemy timings. You don't know when you're strong, you know when they're in the weak. And that's why I'm trying to explain the bubbles for Zarya, is that when she doesn't have any bubbles, she's actually very, very squishy. Zarya has 475 health as a tank, which is very unusual, with no damage mitigation. Right? She has no damage mitigation, she has no damage regen, all she has are the bubbles. If you track the bubbles, she's extremely vulnerable when she does not have bubbles. And you are very, very tanky and very dangerous at close range. So you absolutely could have killed this Zarya like twice already, and you just haven't. And until you figure out how to play around her bubbles, she's just going to keep farming you for ulti. Like, she already has Grav right now. So this is pretty bad. Another option to go here would be like Winston, for example, and just to zap them from high ground and avoid the Reaper. But unfortunately, they have Bastion and Reaper, so Winston's probably not a right call. I think Orisa is still perfectly viable here. It's just that you don't know how to play against Zarya, which is a huge problem. So playing another hero like Winston that kind of ignores Zarya could be better. Oh, you should go up for the hook. Like right here, you got 2 eligible targets. You still have the Bastion eligible. You still have the Kiriko who's eligible as a target. You're just like not trying to hook at all. Now you hook the Zarya, which is a big mistake. So you have 5 shots here, 4 shots, and then you decide to reload despite you the fact that you have 4 ammo. Just like shoot the rest of the shots. Very important to maximize damage. I would just shot the Zarya there and then pulled her through the bubble. Or rather, shot her, shot the bubble, then pulled her to me to shoot again. Because like it's not gonna get any better from here. So Zarya's pop grab, honestly, it like might seem bad right now, but it really doesn't actually matter because you're at your spawn. So all the effort they're spending to try to kill you, like if you win one fight here, you're probably gonna move the cart almost to the end of the first point, which is really not that bad. That hook did not have a chance at working. You should reload right now while he's wraithing. Like I would have saved hook here, right? Right clicking is fine. Right now I would have reloaded and walked with him. I see this. I just walk with him while I reload and wait for him to come out. And then right now I would hook him. And then he's dead. Not much you can do about that. The hook is not even close. Reaper's back here again. Wait for Wraith. Right now, okay. Very lucky hook. That did not appear to be intentional. Pop heal. You're so low, you should have take a breather. Right, you definitely could have died there. Don't just stand still in front of the cart. I think you were probably trying to strafe to the left, but you didn't realize that the cart was still there. Like, I think I see you try. Yeah, you're trying to strafe to the left, but you're like, oh, shoot. And you're slow to take a breather, and then you die. You can't miss that hook. The Bastion's standing still. This is what I'm telling you. Is like it's very obvious that you have trouble aiming. And again, I've said this in other videos, but I'm not gonna try to coach aiming. Yeah, all you do is like be slightly lower. You would have gotten that. But yeah, I mean, your aim has to improve for you to climb, right? Probably your hard limit, even if you get better ability usage and decision making, is probably like somewhere like around like mid to high gold. I think that your aim is going to need to improve to get past that, which it will naturally just by playing, but just letting you know. So you pop Whole Hog here. It's not a great situation. I would have wanted to get people a little lower before popping Whole Hog. Like you get good damage, but you can't get any kills out of it. So it's unfortunate. Yeah, unlucky. Good right click. I think you've only landed 1 hook so far out of like 7. Right. Okay. Bastion is down. So you're doing a thing where you're standing on cart, but there's no reason to stand on cart right now. Your team can move this for you. You need to step up here and look for picks and make space. Otherwise, they're going to keep controlling high ground. They're going to regroup, etc., etc. You need to walk forward right now. Very, very important to walk forward right now. Generally speaking, tanks do not sit on a cart. Again, not being able to control the high ground, you can see how things are just getting worse and worse for you, right? Because you don't control high ground, they're just sitting above your team and just shooting at everybody from above. It's a good hook for the Moira on Coalescence, that's big. Rush is popped. So I personally would have waited here. Like, tanks are really hard to kill. That's why they're tanks, okay? I would have waited for that bubble to end on the Kiriko and then hook the Kiriko. That way you could have one-shot her right now. Instead, you shoot the Zarya, but like, who cares? Like, there's so much healing here for the Zarya. You're not even close to killing her. You really need to target the supports. You only have one shot right now. You reload. You're still not killing the supports. Do a good job on the tank finally. Right? Your rest of the team's killing supports, which is great. You're off on the timing for the hook for the Wraith, which is fine. You know, it's okay. We'll take it. I would probably change heroes now to like Diva, I guess. Strangely enough, even like Ryan would work here actually, just because of how like they have like so much unusual lineup. But I think you want to have something that controls high ground. So Bastion is a really easy hook target. He's like has a massive hitbox and he has no mobility. So I would generally just aim for the Bastion here. So when you see the Bastion coming up, right now, like you missed this, but also you could have just walked to the right and then chase the Bastion down. He's kind of waiting for you to throw a hook. Because after you throw hooks, then he gets off tank form, and then tank form just murders your team. So this is actually pretty good. Their team does not really register. You block the Bastion, okay? Wait the bubble out. Look for yep. Always assume that she has a second bubble charge. If you haven't seen it, just shoot her until she pops it. If she doesn't pop it, then you can hook. Miss, you turn instinctively. It's a good instinct, but your aim is off. You can't actually kill the Reaper. Oh, you do now. It's great. Hook. Yeah. Problem is your team's dead right now, but you got a minute. You got a minute left. This is not the fastest way out. I'm pretty sure it's faster still to walk this way and then up this stair. There's a lot of zigzagging here. That's no good.
60 seconds.
Again, always assume people have abilities until you've seen them use it. So coming out here immediately to hook the Zarya is a really bad call. Right, now your hook's on cooldown for another 8 seconds. This is really bad. Grab has happened. That's fine. It's a bad grab. Reload. Try to go for backline. You get to take a breather. Yeah. Like as you start hearing, this is a gasp, an audible gasp that heroes do when they drop below half. So you should pop, take a breather when that happens. Bastion's on high ground. Again, you're like kind of laser focused everything going into ground because you don't have a high ground control hero. You can't do anything about high ground. Also, you lose one to Bastion ulti.
30 seconds remaining.
We're dead. It was a good hook at the Kiriko. Couldn't quite finish the kill. Yeah, I think you need to play this a little slower and play behind the cart. You're trying to rush it a little too much. And like play around your hook timings, right? Every 8 seconds you have an opportunity to get a kill. Like you pushed in before you actually had the hook ready. You have no way to actually shut the Bastion down. The Zarya gets in the way. And it all just goes downhill. Right? You didn't have to... Like, imagine if you just stayed back here and played safe. You'd be alive right now and able to help your team get all these kills. You really forced it too early. So yeah, it was a steamroll. But, you know, maybe their team was like a little more skilled, but didn't feel like anybody on the team was like absolutely smurfing. I think the primary issue is that you were basically always out of position. I would say pretty consistently as a tank out of position, and you're getting very little value out of your abilities. And as a result, like their tank just walking into your team continually compresses your team into smaller and smaller spaces until they collapse. And their DPS are just better at getting picks than your team was, partially because they had more space, right? Your team is always like clustered, always like having to deal and like look at the tank in the front, and their DPS got very little pressure from you whatsoever, so they're free to do whatever they wanted to do. So yeah, I think that's like kind of the big thing that's going on over here. I'll take a quick look at the other video.
Now arriving at Lee.
Maybe I'll just like quickly watch some of the first point. Just because you didn't actually end up playing Orisa all that much. the other video. So Lucio's there. I wouldn't fret about it. Like at that point, once the Lucio's already here, like look briefly, but I don't fret about this because like really your job is to kind of hold the front line at this point. So it kind of is what it is. So with Rein, okay, whenever he gets up close to you, right, javelin him away. If you can't javelin, you spin, right? You should spin him backwards right now to prevent him from, yep. And you want, but the thing is, you don't want to end in no man's land. You don't want to actually end the spin touching him. You want to spin, 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 and then step back and let the spin push him away from you. And now you want to step back to, let's call this billboard. You want to step back to billboard for cover. So you're forced to fortify here, which is really unfortunate. You did not want that forced out. You actually didn't need it either. You probably could have survived just by staying over here. Unfortunately, neither of your supports can see you. This is also a very low healing lineup, Lucio and Mercy. It's still viable to play as Orisa, but you need to be aware that you're going to get a lot less healing. Like this is another good example of like a combination of aim and trigger discipline. So watch where you're shooting right now. There's nothing here, okay? And then there's still nothing here. You see there's nothing actually at your crosshair that you could possibly hit. You're just spamming shots into the ground, right? Into the billboard, into the wall, and now we're finally at the point where you're aiming at something. Javelin back, which is the right call. So I would definitely think about potentially going into that room if I saw the Cassidy commit. But for now, like you're shooting. I think there's also a big issue here where because your accuracy is so poor, you're not putting any pressure on the opposing team. Like you see, everyone just ignores you because you don't do anything. Like you're not hitting enough shots to actually get people to change their behavior. And that's why I'm saying that your accuracy is going to be a huge limiting factor for how far you can possibly climb. Again, it's like this Ashe is standing still on the bridge and you miss this javelin. Right? Right here. Like she's not dodging. You just straight up miss here. Again, you see the Cassidy super overextended. You could A, kill this Ashe and then kill, like if I were you, like both of these heroes would already be dead by now. Very quickly. Like neither one of them are trying to do, like this is really bad. Like she gets away with 1 health and then you let her go because instead of trying to kill her, like why are you backing up? Just step forward. Just keep shooting. Like make sure that she dies. Right? And then she gets super low and you're like, all right, I guess I'll stop attacking her. Despite the fact that it was a very easy kill. Your Cassidy's gotten the kill inside with Echo. You should have recognized that by sound cues and just game sense. Your Lucio goes in the Ashe, so you had the opportunity to go here and at least get the kill with the Ashe. You turn around, which is also okay. Okay, you go back for the Rein, but the last thing you want to do is be fighting tanks right now. Instead, you continue trying to fight the tank. You're on the point, but it doesn't matter because the point's already capped. Unless you think you're going to win this fight does not matter. All you're doing is just wasting time that you could use to regroup your team and actually kill them. So Cassie's right here. Again, you have a great opportunity to get a kill. You could spin him. Right? Now you have to land Javelin, but you know, you just don't hit enough shots for this to work. I think it's good to push this way. Lucio can't boop you off. Right, I would confirm where my DPS is. My Echo was like off in the corner, which is not so good. But you have Kiriko now, so you have more healing. You have Mei with you, so you're pretty brawly. So I would expect that the Mei is going to try to wall off the Rein, and then he can help you fight. Yep. So wall off happens. As soon as this happens, get aggressive. Get very, very aggressive. Get ready for charge, though. I think this is good to like, come in, play this angle, force him to have to turn a little bit. I would expect Shatter to be coming pretty soon because this is the second fight, and I know he farmed a lot of damage in the first fight. You walk forward right now. Again, don't pop Fortify first if at all possible. Try to use Spin first. So you can use Spin here if you need to create more space, but also just thinking like they already have point control. So the only way that you're going to get this point back is you have to kill people. And it's fundamentally still has to be your job to not only take space, but to get kills when kills are available. Right now, the Cassidy is like potentially killable here. Good to have Javelin. Yep, there, good. Right, so you go up to Kiriko. You spin back. All right. That's fine. Go up to him. I would try to get in front of his face. That, like, again, walk just a little bit further so you can shoot him in the head. It doubles the damage that you do, which makes a huge difference. Ulti right now, which is an interesting call. You saw the Kiriko teleport, so she's not going to be able to get out of that, and I think she's Suzu too. I think the thing is you probably shouldn't need to ulti here, because I think it's a 4... Well, actually, it's a 3-on-3, so yeah, you might as well ulti here. That's fine. Kill Kiriko, if you sound cues, you would have recognized that this Ashe is still alive, but the Ryan's also low, so fine. Yeah, go ahead and secure the kill here. Find the Ashe. Okay, they switch to Orisa. I'm gonna link the video where I talk about Orisa versus Orisa, but the short answer is you want to bait out spin, then you want to bait fortify, then you want to bait her second spin, and then if you still fortify at that point, pop fortify, walk into her and kill her. And you can use spin at any point in that if you'd like to try to stay alive. But whoever pops fortify first is probably gonna lose. So right now she's popped fortify, great. But I do not want to fight her because right now she's taking half damage, okay? Just chill. Just play the cover. Just play cover. Just poke a little bit. Play cover. Play cover. Play cover. Wait for her to come in. Bait her second spin. And then kill her. You see how much damage you've taken? And now you're forced to pop Fortify. Right? All you had to do was simply not fight this. Like, she's not pushing out to the point. You don't need to do anything. You're on defense. Okay? You're pushing the tempo at a time when it should be up to them to do something. But you going forwards, now it introduces you to risk, and now you're in big trouble. Okay? Now you don't have the Fortify advantage. They have Sound Barrier. Miss Javelin capacity, pretty good tracking though. You spin, but like the spin doesn't really get you a lot of value here. You're like 229. Yeah, I mean, I guess you sort of do because you get like low enough that you might have died there, but now you pop Fortify again. Like, just play cover. Like, you step constantly forwards here, but you don't need to. Like, just let them in here. Like, you're down one. You don't have your Kiriko. Just play cover, and all you want to do is stall the point for as long as you can. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. Yeah, number one biggest thing, you're out of position. I don't think you know where to be at the right times. Like, make sure to be around to peel and reduce threat to your teammates, especially your DPS. 2, general ability usage obviously can pretty much always be better, but you're not getting a lot of value from your abilities. Like on D.Va, your missiles were basically useless. Your D.Va bomb was not of value. Here you're getting your Fortify getting baited out way too quickly. 3, as I would say, is accuracy is definitely a problem. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a limiting factor, especially if you play heroes that require precise accuracy. Like, if you play Winston, it's not going to be a big deal, but playing, Orisa D.Va, like, you're going to need to have pretty good accuracy. And I would say 4, in general, your awareness of, like, fights that are happening around you is pretty poor. Like, you typically are looking just at main, and you're always, like, kind of slow to react or to adapt to what is going on the sides. Like, you're often losing not the main fight, but things that are happening around you on the off angles. And I think that's something to think about as well. Okay, I'll stop there. Hopefully that's helpful.